Guys, welcome back to our channel. Today we're going to discuss something that we talked about a little bit already, but we can kind of get more into it, and that's going to be the Strickland Izzy rematch. I mean, there has to be a rematch. Nothing official yet as of today. Today's September 25th, 26th, 2023. Nothing has been confirmed yet, but we expect the rematch to happen either later this year or early next year. And there's a couple of things that we want to talk about on how Izzy can change up his style a little bit to compensate the discrepancies in striking. Because it sounds weird, but Strickland gets better in striking. But on paper, we know Izzy is a much better striker. His resume speaks for itself. And in the first fight, kind of having too many tools kind of worked against him. And today we're going to discuss some stuff that even DC talked about on the broadcast. And the main thing is kind of cutting down all the movements and all the extra flashy stuff that he did in the first fight. DC essentially said that he's to bite down on the mouthpiece, just stay planted and stick his ground and fight him at that range instead of doing all the extra flashy stuff. And one thing that I want to mention that there's going to be zero wrestling the next match, right?
Yeah,
so a lot of people are saying, "Oh, just take him down or just wrestle him," because in the first fight he got the better striking. But Strickland is a black belt, and Izzy's wrestling. Yeah, he's grappling. He grapples.
Yeah.
So, and Izzy isn't, I think he's a blue belt or something, right?
Yeah.
So that's kind of first thing we mentioned, that it's not possible for.
Yeah, I think that would basically favor Strickland more.
Yeah, right, exactly. So Izzy's gonna get tired quickly, and then when it's too late, when he doesn't want to wrestle anymore, he's gonna be tired and he's gonna be back to the same fight. So that's one thing I mentioned. Just off the back, there's gonna be zero wrestling. So the improvements that will be made are gonna be in the striking realm. And one thing that, like I said, DC wants him to plant his feet and start striking at a more more traditional fight. And one way he could do that we saw in Strickland's his previous fight, as we saw in the Magomedov fight, Magomedov took advantage of his his aggression early by landing a bunch of leg kicks, which we saw Strickland prepare for and kind of nullified Izzy's leg kicks by using, like I mentioned in the previous video, using the inside checks and his outside checks. So what Izzy needs to do is kind of double up on him and more land kind of lower and more aggressively. So instead of throwing a bunch of these question mark kicks that land up here, they kind of didn't really. I mean, I don't think he landed anything significant, right?
No,
so he
not really.
He didn't really land anything significant with his fancy stuff. So I would like for him to throw more aggression, one, because he was on the back foot, but his aggression towards the leg kicks, because how do you stop an aggressive opponent?
You chop the leg.
Chop it down.
Yeah.
So as we saw, Strickland was aggressive the whole time, which I'll get to that a little bit later. So Izzy on paper has the advantage because he is, like he said, a decorated striker, and it's not like Izzy didn't get him to feint. Izzy got him to feint a lot, but he didn't capitalize. So what he could do is get him to feint up here, and we saw Strickland bite a lot on the feints, and DC and the other commentators mentioned that he kept biting on the feints. So Izzy can continue that, so that doesn't need to change, but get him to bite up here and land more down here, yeah. So either your quad, or ideally where it's more painful, down the nerves and your calf. So we want to see. I want to see Izzy continue with the feints, because that worked for him. Get Izzy to get Strickland to bite up here and chop down his leg and continue that. So it's kind of goes against Izzy's style, because he likes to be like a flashy guy, and it works most of the time. It worked for him up until this point.
Yeah.
But we met someone like Strickland that kind of nullified that style. So the first thing we want him to do is land leg kicks, because Strickland, in the Magomedov fight, did get hurt and kind of was compromised a tiny bit. The only thing, Magomedov tired off. He blew his load really, really quick. Izzy, I don't see him getting tired. Yeah, unless you wrestle Izzy. If you don't wrestle Izzy, he can go all day. Cap, the first thing, get Strickland to bite up here. Get him to bite on the feints, which he did the first fight, and land any down low, preferably the calf, because the calf is a lot more sensitive. But if you can't, the quad also hurts too, and just double up on those kicks and back off. Second thing, that we need Izzy to avoid the cage. We saw Strickland push him with his teeps towards the cage, and saw his best work with Izzy with his back against the cage. So Izzy needs to avoid that and land stay in the middle where he has the advantage as a striker. The second step is kind of more of a general idea. And this he can work out with his coaches, but staying in the middle is where he has an advantage, because in the middle there's going to be zero wrestling, he's all going to be striking. And since Izzy is a more decorative striker, he has more tools, or he's able to utilize his movement more when his back is not against the cage. So he can plant, even though he's planting, I'm suggesting he's planting, he can plant, use his pivots in the middle of the cage. And thirdly, he will need to plant again with his boxing. So we see him a lot, and something that knocks people out like this, but we see this kind of like Ryan Garcia wide left hook that he landed on Whitaker, and it works. But someone like Strickland, he has a high guard. He has a very kind of tall stance with a high guard. So him getting through with these wide shots is going to be less likely. So what we want to see is, again, plant in the middle of the cage, throwing his leg kicks, doing damage, and then eventually landing a kind of more traditional left hook. Yeah. So, and even though he switches stance, that's okay. You can switch stance, get the range. But once he's ready to strike, we would like for him to throw his left hook or his right hook, his lead hook. So, like he throws this a lot, which is back here, which kind of still can land, still can be powerful. He knocks people out, but it kind of compromises his leverage and his power. So we would like to see him more of a traditional style, more traditional Muay Thai or kickboxing style, where he's kind of like throwing it here, like you see, we've covered this punch many times.
Basically conventional like left hook.
Yeah.
Very short, compact left hook.
Because he has the range over Strickland and the experience over Strickland. It's just sometimes it takes very little changes in your style to
make a big difference.
Make a big difference. Yes, we would like for him to say planted, throw his kicks, and throw these hooks. Even if you come from southpaw here, you want him to throw more powerful shots. And DC mentioned that he needs to kind of do something and plant and like stop with the flashiness and kind of go back to your roots basically and go more conventional. Which is kind of weird telling Izzy to go more conventional, but
I thought maybe he underestimated Strickland a little bit, and he wanted to get like a highlight reel.
Yeah.
So I felt like maybe that's why he got a little bit too extravagant with his movements and just kind of wanted to make it as flashy as he possibly could, because like no disrespect to Strickland, right? Because he did what he had to do, right? But ultimately, like if we compare it, let's just say, to like somebody that's in amateurs, right? Somebody that is like, I don't know, like 30 fights in, right, in the amateur system, right? In any sport, right? Of course, they'll look great against somebody. Like they'll do all the flashiest things in the world, and they'll actually work on somebody that has like 5 fights. You know. I'm not saying that Sean Strickland is an amateur or anything, but it just kind of feels like Izzy had that type of mentality. Like, let me see what I could get away with this with somebody that I don't necessarily really think is on the same striking like premises as I am.
And also Strickland said it too. So it's not like anything controversial, because Strickland said, "Oh, what the hell? Like, I just did this." Like he almost didn't believe it himself, because he knew that that Izzy was a much better striker, and he even mentioned that the rematch is going to be a lot tougher than the first fight, because Izzy is going to prepare, and maybe we'll see some of these 3 things. Stay in the middle, use more leg kicks, and more not aggressive, more of a planted style with his boxing and his Muay Thai, and eventually he can throw these kicks here and there, because those kicks do add something, kind of adds the element of kind of surprise, but reduce some of that and add more of a traditional stance. And I would like to see him more in this training camp, more of like a Muay Thai or training camp, because we know no one's gonna wrestle. So it's like that's out the picture. It'd be crazy if
Sean Strickland just wrestles with a rematch.
Yeah, which unlikely, because you see his training style is all just banging and stuff. So as of now, wrestling's out of the picture. So we would like to see Strickland's gonna have to adjust to that too. But for now, those are the kind of the 3 kind of tips that Izzy should do against the rematch, in the rematch against Strickland. Yeah. So that's going to be it. Comment down below if you disagree with us, if you think Izzy should stick to the same game plan, which it's possible that he could just stick to the same game plan and just respect Izzy, Strickland a little bit more. But who knows? Yeah, just let us know down below. And then everything, our social media is down below. Like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff, and then we'll see you next